Dude, parasocial relationships are actually insane to me. Like, I can understand wanting to meet maybe your favorite sports player or YouTuber or something like that, just to have a cool picture with them, but I never in a million years would ever consider moving continents to try and be closer to somebody I think is very attractive. And this is not somebody that they know. This is somebody that they used to watch on the Dream SMP. And today we're going to be talking about Tyler Catastrophe. He is a TikToker who got very viral recently because of a lot of old clips that he uploaded to TikTok where he pretty much describes this parasocial relationship he has with Wilbur Soot. And it's extremely problematic and just downright disgusting at times. And I thought we'd talk about it today. So yeah, let's get into the video.
Actually, fuck Stuart Semple. I've been so incredibly pissed off at the way this man fucked me over for over a year, and I don't like being angry, and I want to leave all these shitty-ass feelings in 2024. So if y'all want to be angry with me, let's be angry. I traveled 8,000 miles to spend a day in the Culture Hustle studio, completely fell in love with it while doing what was actually free labor now that I think about it. And then he starts looking for a new assistant, and I'm told to apply, so I do. And then when I don't get that job, honestly, really glad I didn't. I'm not made to be someone else's assistant. So I ask him, point blank, hey, can I have a different job in the studio, and I'll just move to England, I'll raise the funds myself, I've got to be out by this date, could it happen? And he said yes.
Yeah, all he did was swung by the studio for like a brief tour or just like to catch up or like hang out with somebody. And then for some reason in his mind, he was like, yeah, no, I deserve this job. I've earned it. I was asked to be an assistant. When in reality, that's not what happened.
Yes, so what do? I put my career on hold, sell basically almost everything else I own, start turning down opportunities thinking I'm going to be in a different country when they happen, doing the work because I go all in or nothing. And what does he do? Fucking ghosts me.
This is where we start seeing like this weird lack of social awareness from Tyler. For some reason, he decides that he's owed this job in England, which is a crazy level of ego and just fucking entitlement. And yet, he was never even offered one. Look at this fucking Reddit thread. This is from the actual person who runs that business. And he clarifies that it was never a job offer, and it felt like Tyler was forcing himself into a role that wasn't there.
And after months of people who already work for him telling him he needs to talk to me, months where I was getting him opportunities with even bigger artists.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure why he thought he had a job offer. I'm not sure what the fuck his plan was there. Like, I understand trying to like charm your way into a job, but typically the job is open, or they are considering hiring someone else. There was no job open, buddy, and yet for some reason you think you're like the one making this company move forward. You did all this unpaid labor, while in reality you just swung by the office.
Because in my head, we were friends.
The social awareness from Tyler is something that genuinely needs to be studied.
Since I'm just letting myself be angry here, my work is better than his. I don't have other people making things behind the scenes that I can claim as my own. This piece is completely unfinished, and you can already tell it's gonna be amazing. Definitely don't get me started on the pieces that are finished. I'm an amazing painter, and I'm tired of pretending that I'm not. I completely free-handed this. Pun absolutely intended. And did I mention they're all 4 feet tall? And don't even get me started on my beaded jewelry. Name one person who was making stuff like this. You can't. I've tried. I've looked. Instead of being able to focus on and celebrate how fucking fantastic everything I make is, I get to lay awake at night and worry myself sick about the fact that I can't pay my bills because someone promised me something and didn't deliver.
Holy fuck. Just the amount of narcissistic energy coming from this guy could kill an entire village of kings. It is insane to me that this man, for some reason, believes that literally, quoting him, everything he makes is fantastic and somebody screwed him out of a job. That is not what fucking happened, Tyler. You were not even remotely considered for a job. You kept reaching out to the staff, even though you were clearly not going to get the job. And yet, for some reason, you have this strange desire to move to England. And I want to go to the next video where you talk about it a little bit more. Like, I'm not sure why you want to move to England.
Seen the guy moving halfway around the world just to be closer to a YouTuber? If y'all think I would make a massive life-altering decision that takes years of work to achieve, just because I was willing to admit on the internet that I think a musician I don't know has a pretty laugh, then y'all really have the wrong idea.
Are you talking about the YouTuber that you defended tooth and nail while he had abuse allegations that he owned up to? Like, are we talking about that YouTuber, that guy that you adore? Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't do anything like that.
And I suppose you have a better explanation? I was supposed to move to Bournemouth a couple years ago. I had a job lined up, I did a ton of research, made a ton of preparations, admittedly got a little too excited because it ended up falling through at the last minute. But when I finally dusted myself off and got myself back on track, and decided I could probably just move out of the US on my own, England was the easiest choice because I had already done so much of the work.
So we can already rule out that reason as being completely bullshit. No, Tyler, you did not have a job lined up in England. You wanted a job in England after going on vacation there. You liked the studio where it was made, and for some reason you tried forcing yourself into that job.
But why Brighton specifically? But when I visited England and met the people I had hoped to be working with, I completely fell in love with the South Coast. I've always wanted to live near the ocean, and it's gorgeous. And Brighton is a really popular city right now. I've got a bunch of friends in sport in the area, and like with most college towns, it's got a thriving art and music scene. And people keep telling me it's the gay capital of the UK, which I think is hilarious.
Oh, so it wouldn't be because Wilbur Soot has heavy associations in Brighton? That would have no correlation with your desire to move there at all, would it?
You expect me to believe that's the only reason? I mean...
Huh, that's a crazy coincidence. Wilbur Soot loves that same exact team.
I'm sure I'm not the only guy in the world who would let his decision to move somewhere be influenced by a sports team.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, Tyler. Everybody in California is moving to Cleveland, Ohio to watch the Browns play every Sunday.
And why would you like their football club if not for a crush? I grew up in the sport. My whole family played. We helped run a non-profit youth club. I was a referee for 6 years. And when it comes to the Premier League, most of the other teams, Chelsea, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Leicester City, to me, they all play like assholes.
Holy LARP. Dude, like, you couldn't come up with one good reason. You couldn't just be like, oh, well, I just like the colors of the team. No, everyone else plays like assholes. Dude, you are just bullshitting so hard right now.
They time waste, they flop, they play dirty. Brighton actually plays the game.
Yeah, that just sounds like soccer to me.
I mean, I could talk about how Verbruggen, Van Hecke, Weaver are pretty much the sole reason I have a paid fan club membership to the Netherlands national team. I could talk about how Matoma is such an ace fucking striker, he literally has a PhD thesis that he wrote about dribbling, or how the last transfer window broke my fucking heart because we lost Estepinian, who was my favorite, Lamptey, and Adingra. I actually think you should stop talking.
Tyler, just because you become a fan of the team that you're LARPing does not mean that you didn't become a fan of that team because of somebody that you have a crush on. That doesn't mean anything. Like, you can become a real fan of the team, but you still became a fan of the team to begin with because of Wilbur.
Did you know that the head coach, Fabian Hertzler, was born in Houston, Texas? I really don't like you. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so that's him obviously LARPing to go to England and trying to be a fan and doing some very deranged shit. Like selling all your stuff and going on a crowdfunding campaign. Like, that's some crazy shit to move to England for a job you don't have, all because of somebody that you barely know. And yet, for some reason, I'm not sure why, he decided to stick with Wilbur even after his allegations were made. If you do not know, Wilbur Soot had allegations of domestic abuse from his ex-partner. So this partner claimed that Wilbur Soot would bite her to the point where it hurt and would sometimes draw blood, even though she was very much not into what he was doing. He was pushing boundaries and doing some very manipulative things that were just not okay. This is something that he has owned up to. And yet, for some reason, Tyler has multiple videos where he goes in depth trying to victim blame Wilbur's ex-girlfriend and say that, oh, it wasn't domestic abuse, it wasn't this, it wasn't that, and I'm actually a victim of sexual assault and, like, domestic abuse, so I actually know what's domestic abuse and what isn't. It's just so fucking disgusting, and this guy has so many bullshit takes like that, and it's obviously coming from an obsession that he has on Wilbur. If you want a full deep dive on it, I definitely suggest that you go check out iNabber's video. I just watched it. It's amazing. It's super in-depth, and I would definitely recommend it if you're way more interested than my oversimplified summary of this, I guess not drama, but this person. But anyway, continuing on. So he's already a piece of shit, right? But yet, for some reason, he just doesn't understand the criticism against him. And he has made multiple videos trying to respond to the criticism against him by writing it off as a smear campaign.
I said I have a crush on a guy in a band who I do not know and have met once. And because I was not strictly literal in a video that was for entertainment, I have somehow become the target of a weeks-long ridiculous smear campaign that, frankly, I don't want to understand.
Oh, you mean like the thing that you did for Stuart? The guy that you thought you had a job for because you demanded one from him? And then proceeded to follow up by posting and lying about your situation with that job that you demanded that wasn't even offered to you and smear Stuart's name? Or is it like that time when you defended Wilbur by victim blaming his ex? By saying that you have gone through trauma and you understand better than she does in a situation that you were not a part of, so her trauma is invalid because it doesn't fall into your own criteria for what it takes to be a victim? Is it like that? Yeah, so he pretty much goes on to yap here about like how he's the victim and how he's in the right and everything that he does is okay. But all this other awful shit going on that people, you know, just criticizing him and saying a bunch of shit. Yeah, no, those people are horrible. No, Tyler, that's not the case. Yes, some of the people sending death threats and all this other stuff that you allege, even though you're a pathological liar, so I don't know if I can confirm or deny any of those threats are real, those people are bad. I'll give you that. But a large majority of your criticism is from your parasocial relationship that you have with somebody that you met for 7 minutes. You don't know this person, and yet for some reason you decide to move to a different continent instead of like just moving state. If you move states to get better rights as a trans person, that would be understandable. But you're moving continents to where he lived, to support the team that he supported, to get a job that you were never offered. Like, you do all this crazy shit, and yet for some reason you still think you're the victim. Dude, you are not a victim. You are the one doing this to yourself, and yet for some reason you post it online. You post it. You posted all of this, dude. Like, there's only so much we can do to help you at this point. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't hate Tyler. I don't think that he's necessarily the worst person ever. I just think this parasocial relationship he has with Wilbur Scott or Scoot or whatever the fuck is extremely unhealthy. I think it is incredibly dangerous, and we've seen parasocial relationships like this lead to some very dangerous tendencies. I think that he needs to realize that this guy is not somebody you have to follow across the globe. Moving to England might be very cool, and if you want to do that, that's fine. But copying everything and getting your whole personality from Wilbur and doing a bunch of shit that Wilbur does is not healthy. That's not okay. You can't do that and expect people not to criticize you for doing that. But anyway, guys, I hope you liked the video. This is a very oversimplified version. Go check out iNabbers if you want a full 2-hour in-depth dive onto Tyler. But anyway, drop a sub. See ya.